Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Mustache MMA. Welcome to episode 12 of Best Bets, UFC Fight Night, Luque versus Muhammad 2. I'm going to take a deep dive into the sports books here and select a couple different bets that I like on this card. We're going to go through each individual bout on the card, and I'm going to decide whether I want to take any action on any of the bets that they are offering. Some of the bouts I may take a pass. Some of the bouts I may take one bet, two bets. We'll see later on in the video. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and actually, before I break down this card, I want to show the results from last week. So results from last week, overall betting perspective here. So this is both best bets and parlay plays. I went 9 of 9, 50%, 14.5 units in play, 19.78 units returned. So positive 5.28 units in profit for the card. Pretty solid card. So not too shabby start to April. But if we go into our best bets here, you can see we went 6 of 6, 50%. 11 units played, 10.89 units returned, and negative. So we're essentially broke even, but down minus 0.11 units for the best bets. Obviously, all that profit came from the parlay plays. I won't go into those specifically, though. And then also just to get a little bit deeper dive into the specific bets that I placed. So Volkanovski unanimous decision. That was a loss. In hindsight, that was a kind of a poor bet, but it is what it is. Sterling Yan fight goes the distance. That was a win. Burns Chimaev over 1.5, a win. Torres decision. I think we got robbed on that one, boys. Unfortunately, it does happen. Sometimes those split decisions go our way. Sometimes it goes against us. In my opinion, that one went against us, so bad beat there. Gary Weeks, fight starts the third round. That was a win. Gal Malat, over 1.5. That was a loss. Michelle Madsen, fight goes the distance, a win. Hernandez Frem, the fight starts the second. That was a win. Hansen, money line, a loss. Arce, money line, over 1.5, a win. And Weeks decision, a loss. And Hansen sub, second or third, also a loss. One thing to note too, Hansen got cut by the UFC, but even if she didn't get cut and she got one more fight, I think I would have had to retire from putting any more money on her. I've put money on her in the past, and for whatever reason, I doubled down again. I thought it was a bounce back spot, but she has proven that that she's a bit mediocre, if you will. But yeah, anyway, end rant on Kay Hansen. Let's get into our best bets for UFC Fight Night, Luque versus Muhammad 2. So we're going to start with the first fight of the card. We got Heili Alateng versus Kevin Croom. I'm on the Kevin Croom side here. I do really like Kevin Croom to get this one done. I just think he throws a lot more volume than Alateng. The thing is, Alateng does have good wrestling, so he may be able to suppress Croom in terms of him trying to get it to the ground. Croom comes out with a high pace, high pressure. Likely Croom will win the first round. We'll see what he does and comes out in the second and even the third. But Croom just puts on such a high pace and throws a lot of volume that I think this is going to really look really good in the judges' eyes. And I do think this fight goes to a decision. However, even though I am confident on the Croom side that it gets it done, I'm probably more confident that this fight goes to a decision, hence the play here. So official play here is 1 unit on fight goes the distance, minus 130 over on FanDuel. Yeah, like I said, I like Kevin Croom to get the decision here, but breaking it down a little bit further, both these guys are tough. They're tough to finish. And both of them don't necessarily have finishing capabilities, if you will. Croom does have a good amount of submissions on his resume, but I don't know if he's going to be successful in the wrestling because Alateng is a very good wrestler, and he's good to bounce back up to his feet as well. He's also been very durable so far in his UFC career. He's been super durable on the feet. He takes a lot of damage and he's be able to eat that and come back. I don't think Croom has necessarily the power to put Alateng away. On the other side, Alateng, also a decision guy when he wins a lot. Croom, super tough, super durable. He can take a ton of damage. So love this play here. Again, 1 unit on Fight Goes the Distance, -130 over on FanDuel. Moving up the card, we get Sam Hughes versus Istela Nunes. This one, I like Istela Nunes to win here, but this is a pass for me. Reason being is I'm just scared Sam Hughes is going to be able to work in the wrestling game here. And we've seen in the past with Istela Nunes that is definitely a point of weakness for her. We don't really... a Nunes decision is like +105. That's what I was eyeing up. Not much value on Fight Goes the Distance. It's a nice parlay piece, but I mean -225. I'm not laying any kind of action on that in a straight bet, to be honest. And a Hughes decision is +310. And, you know how these female MMA fights go. They're really close. When they go to the judges' scorecards, it's tough for them to make that decision, and it's generally sometimes they get it wrong, like we saw in the last fight, in my opinion, Torres versus Dern. But anyway, I mean, Hughes here, she can work in the wrestling game. Her striking's not, awful. She is super hittable on the feet, and Istela Nunes probably should win this one if it stays on the feet. But again, if Sam Hughes can mix in the wrestling, be a little successful there, get some top control time, it could be very close. And that's why I'm not willing to lay any money on Istela Nunes decision prop. I'm just not confident enough to be able to do that. So this fight, I'm going to take a pass. Moving up the card, we got Trey Ogden versus Jordan Leavitt. Both really high-level grapplers here. But obviously, you can see Trey Ogden having a lot more experience than Jordan Leavitt. But I do believe, actually, Jordan Leavitt, in my opinion, probably has a grappling advantage for sure. I mean, it is close, but Jordan Leavitt, his grappling is just really smooth with his transitions, and he just flows from position to position and or submission to submission. It's very, very smooth, very nice looking. Trey Ogden, on the other hand, again, also a really good grappler. And he has a lot of submission victories on his resume, but the glaring hole is he's been submitted 3 times in his career. 3 of the 4 losses have been via submission, and he's going up here against a good grappler. That could pose some trouble. All of those submission losses have been in the first round, so you could say maybe he just, makes some mistakes early that he shouldn't, and he gets caught. But overall, I like Trey Ogden in this one. Reason being is he's got the better striking, and I think he probably has the better wrestling as well. The wrestling may be close, but, in those sorts of situations, you think, all right, what is the game plan for Trey Ogden here? Do I go to the ground and trust my grappling skills against Leavitt, my grappling defense? Because Leavitt, whether he's on his back or whether he's on top, he's going to be offensively grappling, looking for submissions consistently. Trey Ogden here may opt to keep this one on the feet a majority of the time, use his striking, because he's going to be the better striker, and he's going to have success there. In my opinion, it would be smart for him to do that, smart to not go to the ground, at least not engage in the ground very often or too much. If you're going to go on the ground, make sure you're playing it safe. And I'd like him maybe to, this is a pass. I'm passing on this one. But again, I like Trey Ogden to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Leavitt got a submission here, because Trey Ogden has gotten caught in that before. And we don't know. But I feel like Ogden has a good path to victory here, keeping it on the feet, using the striking. He can mix in the takedowns and get top control if he wants, but he just has to play it safe. We'll see what he does here. This will be an interesting fight. But, yeah, I got Trey Ogden here. I like him by decision, but I'm not playing it as a straight bet. No way. Jordan Leavitt, I think, is too much of a risk in the submission game. So, yeah, this fight is going to be a pass for me. No bets. Moving up the card, we got Chris Barnett versus Martin Buday. I got 2 bets for you guys on this card, or on this bout. So breaking down a little bit, Chris Barnett, I'm just not high on Chris Barnett. I mean, like, he had a really, like, crazy, cool spinning back kick, heel kick, or whatever the hell it was, against John Vellante. But John Vellante sucks. He's awful. And Chris Barnett lost the first round against John Vellante. John Vellante was a light heavyweight, essentially went up to heavyweight and just got a gut. Like, he looked so out of shape, so bad. It looked like he didn't gain any muscle. It was all just fat. So, I mean, take that for what you will. And he got destroyed in his UFC debut against Big Ben Rothwell. I mean, I just don't think Chris Barnett is really all that good. And he's coming up against a newcomer here, UFC debut, and Martin Buday, who looked pretty good in his Contender Series fight. But, you know, the guy who fought wasn't that great. All of his other 8 wins have not been from good competition. But he looks solid. He looks durable. He's somewhat well-rounded. And Chris Barnett is just strictly a striker who's got some taekwondo skills. Anyway, so my first play here is fight starts the second, -125 on DraftKings. Both of Chris Barnett's UFC fights have gone to the second round. Martin Buday has gone to the second round a couple times in his fights. He has had first round knockouts in his career. But again, most of those fights have just not been from good competition. And he's even going into the second round against bad competition. I believe he's gone the distance maybe once or twice in his career as well. So I like this one. The fight starts the second round. Reason being, Chris Barnett will have a bit of a gas tank. He will be able to handle himself. He will be able to strike within that first round. Once we hit that second round, once we hit that third round, Chris Barnett's gas tank is trash, especially if someone is pressuring him, putting on a little bit of a pace, and potentially putting on some grappling. And some clinch work on him. That's going to tire him out big time. And Buday does work in the clinch game very well. He's good clinch game. And also he does take it to the ground from time to time as well. And, he has decent jiu-jitsu. And Chris Barnett has essentially 0 ground game. Very, very non-existent, if you will. So I at least like Chris Barnett to get out of the first round here, but I think he eventually does get finished, which comes to my second play, a half-unit play on Buday KO TKO in the second or third round, plus 440 over on FanDuel. I just explained all the reasons why I like this. I think Chris Barnett, his gas tank is going to deplete after that first round. He's going to be mad tired. Buday is going to continue with the clinch work on him, and eventually get him out of there in the second or the third. So yeah, recapping both of those plays, 1 unit play on fight starts the second round, -125 on DraftKings, and then a half unit play, Buday KO TKO second or third round, plus 440 over on FanDuel. Yeah, I love both of those plays. So excited to watch this fight and hopefully see those ones cash. Moving up the card, we got Rafa Garcia versus Jesse Ronson. Both these guys are pretty good, well-rounded. Jesse Ronson is a little bit older. He's a veteran of the game. He was in the UFC back in like 2014, so a while ago. But he had a couple of really tough fights and went 0-3 and then was kicked out because he didn't perform. Came back in 2020, I believe, and got a really impressive performance. First round club and sub over. Anyway, I forget his name, but got a first round club and sub. But apparently turned to a no contest. He was on some kind of steroids or something like that. So not a good look for him. Not a good look to see, how he comes back against that. He's been out of the UFC and out of competition for over a year and a half. So we'll see how he looks after that. Rafa Garcia, he's had a couple UFC fights under his belt. I believe 2, 1 loss, 1 win. He's looked pretty decent. not too bad. He's decently well-rounded. He's more of a grappler. Wrestling's okay. Striking's okay. Not the most technical, but he's got some power. Jesse Ronson, on the other hand, I think he's more technical. I think his power is pretty decent as well. It's probably very comparable to Garcia in terms of the power spectrum. And then Jesse Ronson, he's also got a good grappling game as well. So I like Jesse Ronson in this one, but it's super close. I wouldn't bet on Ronson with a straight up bet. But I do like this play. 1 unit on fight goes the distance, -140 over on FanDuel. Both these guys are super durable. Jesse Ronson does have a lot of finishes on his career, but Rafa Garcia never been finished in his career before. He has really good grappling. So I think his grappling awareness is going to be good enough to avoid any kind of submission threat from Ronson. He's also got a good chin. He's been cracked before a lot in his couple of fights. And he's been able to hold on and be fine. Jesse Ronson, on the other hand, he hasn't been finished very much in his pretty lengthy career. I believe most of his losses have come via decision, but let's double check that. Yeah, so he's only been knocked out twice, submitted once, and more of recently. The guy who knocked him out more recently, Nikolai Alshashbebe, he's a really good fighter in the PFL, and same with Natan Schultz. These are really high-level fighters in the PFL, so I don't hold too much weight to those losses. And hey, even this guy, was able to go to a decision with Natan Schultz. So yes, as you can see here, a lot of most recent losses have all been via decision. The only recent loss via KO was to a very high-level fighter. So, and Rafa Garcia, in my opinion, not on the same level as that. So, yeah, recapping that, 1 unit on fight goes the distance, -140, FanDuel. Love that play. Moving up the card, we got Drakkar Klose versus Brandon Jenkins. Drakkar Klose coming I think it's almost about 2 years since he's fought now. Last time he fought was against Beneil Dariush, which is a really fun fight. It looked like he had Beneil Dariush rocked, and then Dariush came back and knocked him out. Really crazy fight. Definitely go back and watch that if you have ESPN Plus. Very fun one to watch. But yeah, he's going up against Brandon Jenkins, who has his second UFC fight here. His first fight, he came in on short notice against Rong Zhu and kind of got completely dominated. He was kind of just out-wrestled and just kind of ground and pounded consistently on that fence. Couldn't work his way back up to his feet. Struggled mightily in that one. But again, it was short notice. I don't know exactly how much time he had to prepare for that fight, but obviously he didn't have a full camp. Coming in on a full camp on this fight, though. So first fight in the UFC where he has a full camp. But again, coming up against a really tough opponent, Drakkar Klose. I think they're setting up Drakkar Klose with a bounce back spot here, because Drakkar Klose was a pretty solid fighter who racked up a good amount of wins on his resume prior to that loss to Beneil Dariush, which is not a bad loss because Dariush is now sitting at number 5, number 6 in the division. So, yeah. Anyway, play here I like 1 unit on Drakkar Klose by decision, +160 over on FanDuel. So, reason why I went with decision, Drakkar Klose has not been much of a finisher. I think he's had some early knockouts. I believe 4 of his 11 wins have been via knockout, but they've all been early. Everything in the UFC against high caliber fighters have all been via decision wins. Now, he rocked Beneil Dariush, sure, but he didn't finish him. He didn't get him out of there. Now, and you would also say, Brandon Jenkins, he got finished his last time out. It was in the 3rd round with like 20 seconds left. I mean, it was definitely a fair stoppage for sure. But at the same time, I mean, he took a ton of damage and he was still fighting. And, this dude is tough. He's durable. He's been finished prior to that UFC finish as well. But again, it was like to a 3rd round flying knee. So, I don't hold too much weight to this guy. This guy is tough. He is durable. it's going to take a lot for you to put him away. And the fact that Drakkar Klose doesn't have the biggest power and doesn't have that finishing capability, or at least history, that we've seen on his resume so far, I'm not 100% confident that he's going to get the KO TKO like he maybe should here. So I think I like Drakkar Klose here. I like him to win dominantly via decision over Brandon Jenkins. Again, a big factor I like here as well for Jenkins to survive is he's had a full camp. He's had a full time to prepare, a full game plan to figure out Drakkar Klose, to watch the tape, so on and so on. I think that's key in him getting to a decision, because he maybe could have gone to a decision in his first UFC fight if he had a full camp, but he didn't. So yeah, 1 unit, Drakkar Klose via decision, plus 160 over on FanDuel. Lock it in, official play. Moving up the card, we got Lina Lansberg versus Pannie Kianzad. Yeah, whatever. This one for me was a pass. It's just way too chalky, man. I like Kianzad to win here, but man, it's too chalky. What is she? -400 on the money line, and even the decision prop is -160. And I'm even thinking, I was watching the tape, and this was before I watched the tape on Kianzad. I watched the Lansberg tape first, and she looked pretty solid. I mean, she's a ranked fighter. Obviously, she's a little bit older, 40 years old, but I mean, she looks like she has solid wrestling. She's decently rounded in the top game. I mean, I could see Lansberg maybe getting an upset here, but I'm not confident enough to put any money on it, but I wouldn't be surprised. And especially at the price that Kianzad is at -160 for a decision, there's no way I'm playing that at all. So total pass for me, not going to spend much time on it. Not going to spend any more time on this fight. Moving up the card, we got Devin Clark versus William Knight. I believe William Knight is coming in on short notice again on this one. Last time he did come in on short notice fairly recently against Maxim Grisham and came on like way overweight. I don't even know if he even tried to cut weight. But yeah, ended up turning into a heavyweight fight. So William Knight here now. I haven't heard much. I'm assuming he is cutting the weight now, but we'll find out on Friday. But anyway, Devin Clark, pretty solid fighter overall, decently well-rounded, good wrestling. William Knight, same kind of fighter, decently well-rounded, good wrestling as well. As of late, we've seen the wrestling kind of emerge for sure. And yeah, both these guys really tough, really durable, which goes with my my play here. 1 unit, fight goes the distance, -128 over on FanDuel. So Devin Clark, this dude is super tough, super durable. He's been lost 6 times in his career. Let's go ahead and double check what he's lost in, because I think most of them are, submissions. So he's had 3 submission losses, 2 KO losses, and a decision loss. So let's break that down a little bit. William Knight doesn't have a submission game at all. He doesn't really have any grappling. He is a super powerful guy, really strong, but he has to hit you with the perfect shot. And Devin Clark is really tough. So let's see who got him out of there. Alexander Rakic, who got him with a spinning back fist. Rakic is a top 5 fighter in lightweight division, and he got him with a spinning back fist. That's going to put a lot of people away. And then very early in his career in 2016 against Alex Nicholson. So those are the only 2 KO losses that he's had in his career. Other ones have been via submission. And then he just went to a decision loss against Ion Cutelaba. And Cutelaba destroyed this dude. Like, if you go back and watch his fight, his teeth were like, I don't know exactly, like they were fucking like bent back or something. It was absolutely nasty. But hey, he had the option to quit on the stool, I think, after the 2nd round. He went back out there and fought. He is tough. He's durable. He is only way this dude is losing if he's knocked out cold or the ref stops him because he's getting beat up too much. But William Knight, he doesn't throw that much volume. He doesn't have that much power. He does have that power, but he's got to hit the perfect shot. He doesn't throw that much volume. And Devin Clark is tough. Maybe I think he'll be able to take some of those shots if they land. Now, on the other hand, William Knight, super, super tough guy as well. He has an iron glass chin. I don't even think he's only had 3 losses. I don't think he's ever been knocked out or even finished on that note. I stand corrected. Tafanu Chukwi got him back in 2019, but not in the UFC. But anyway, he's fought some pretty good competition, and they haven't been able to get him out of there. So, and anyway, Tafanu Chukwi has crazy power as well. He's similar to William Knight in terms of having that big one-shot power. Devin Clark doesn't necessarily have that one-shot power. His striking is decent. Technicality-wise, it's decent, and the power is decent. You know, light heavyweights, they always have some kind of power. But I don't think Devin Clark has the type of power to put out William Knight. William Knight has shown that he's had a really good chin. In his entire career. It's going to take some big, big shots to be able to put him away. So yeah, those are all the reasons why I like fight goes the distance. So 1 unit, fight goes the distance, -128 over on FanDuel. Moving up the card, we got Mounir Lazzez versus Ange Loosa. So this fight was, Ange Loosa just came in like a day ago on this fight. Lines have not come out yet, so I don't really have much to bet besides over 2.5 or under 2.5, and then money line. So I didn't like either of them. I'm not going to play them. I'm not too upset about not seeing these lines because based on the over 2.5 price, I probably would have got like a fight goes the distance at like a -140-ish, -130-ish play. And that's the play that I probably would want to play. But at the same time, thinking that back, I was like, Mounir Lazzez, he's a very dangerous fighter. He's very explosive. Ange Loosa coming in on like 3-4 days notice. That could pose some trouble. So I'm totally fine with just passing on this fight, even though the lines aren't off and I won't be able to see them. I will sleep just fine and dandy because I'm honestly not sure what may happen in this fight in terms of an outcome. So pass on this one. Moving up the card, we got Pat Sabatini versus TJ Laramie. I always want to say Laramie or whatever. Yeah, so this fight was tough too. Pat Sabatini, super high-level grappler, also a very good wrestler, and some decent striking on him as well. And then TJ Laramie, good wrestling, jiu-jitsu's okay, not bad, and then the striking's also not bad. So Pat Sabatini here, I like him in this spot, and I like him to win. I'm just not confident on what he's going to do and when he's going to do it. Sabatini with the submission game, really good. This is probably the highest level grappler that Laramie has ever faced, so that could be a big issue for him, especially with Laramie coming off a submission loss in his last time out against Darrick Minner, who Darrick Minner is also a high level grappler as well. Sabatini here, he could get a first-round sub, he could get a third-round sub. He could go the distance. He could get a TKO if he gets in a good position and just get a ground and pound KO. I just see a lot of different potential outcomes for this fight, which makes me want to stay away from it. So this one's a pass. Again, I like Sabatini. I do think he wins here pretty easily, but Laramie could pose a little bit of trouble. His wrestling is pretty solid, but at the same time, Sabatini has very good wrestling as well, and I think he'll be able to counter that wrestling game of Laramie. And even if Laramie gets him down to the ground, again, Pat Sabatini is the best grappler that he's ever faced in his career. So look for Sabatini to be looking for things off his back, making life difficult for Laramie when he is on top, if that even happens. So again, because of all the different potential outcomes I see in this fight, this one's a pass for me. Moving up the card, we got Mayra Bueno Silva versus Yana Wu. With this one here, I like Mayra Bueno Silva, but man, I'm just not sure what's going to happen. It's similar with the Sabatini fight. I almost like Bueno Silva here to get a finish. She has really good grappling. Lou seems to sometimes put herself in very bad positions when she does engage in the grappling and the wrestling game. And also Bueno Silva, packs a punch in the stand-up. She has pretty good power for this female division at 125. So I would not be surprised if she potentially gets a knockout here over Wu, who's been finishing a career by Yana Kutkana prior to coming in the UFC. So, I just am, again, I'm not sure. Bueno Silva could go to distance, could get a sub, could get a KO. Don't know when it's going to happen. Could be early, could be later. Because of all these different paths to victories that may happen, I see opportunity for each one of them. It's a pass for me. I don't want anything to do with this fight in terms of straight bets. Moving up the card, we got Andre Falajo versus Miguel Baeza. Andre Falajo here coming in on short notice once again. He came in on short notice against Michel Pereira, and now he's coming in on short notice against Miguel Baeza. So he is fighting the top-notch fighters here on short notice every time. So pretty ballsy for him to keep doing that. But, I mean, he is a pretty solid fighter. But he's going up against Baeza as well, who's very well-rounded, very good striking, super good technical striking. He's got power behind it as well. Good grappling as well if it goes to the mat. Doesn't necessarily engage in the wrestling and go for the takedowns, but he has that in his back pocket. Andre Falajo, he's got power, man. Decent technicality. I haven't seen him much in the ground game. I think he mainly is a stand-up kind of guy. So it'd be interesting to see what happens here. But official play here is 1 unit on Baeza money line and over 1.5 plus 130 over on DraftKings. I really like this one because Baeza throws heavy leg kicks and he throws them often. We saw in the last fight that Andre Falajo went in on. Michel Pereira hit those leg kicks and he was not checking them. That's going to be a huge, huge issue for him if he's not checking his kicks against Baeza, because Baeza's going to chop down those legs and it's going to get ugly quick. So that's why I like the over 1.5. I think Baeza is going to chop down those legs early, but Falajo should be able to tough it out for a while until eventually maybe he gets him out of there in the late second or maybe potentially third round. Could also go to a decision, but we're covered there with the over 1.5. But yeah, Falajo is tough. He is tough to finish. He's been finished twice via KO in his career. One to Titi Nojukwani, who has crazy, crazy power. Baeza doesn't have that kind of power, in my opinion. And then the other finish was from Chris Curtis, and that was very late in the third round that he got the finish in. And we've seen Chris Curtis just kind of already roll through some of these guys in the welterweight division. So pretty impressive. But yeah, I think Baeza here has the technical striking advantage. I think he's going to kind of piece up Andre Falajo. He's going to chop at those legs. Falajo is going to try and land the power shots, but Baeza is going to avoid them. Baeza does have a chin as well, in my opinion. Last time he got knocked out by Cass Williams, but Cass Williams has the best power in the division, hands down. You can't tell me otherwise. And I don't think Andre Falajo's power is on the same level as Cass Williams. Baeza was dropped before by Matt Brown, who also has really good power, but was able to recover, come back, get the win. So I like Baeza here in this spot a lot, and I like this play. 1 unit, Baeza, money line, and over 1.5, plus 130 over on DraftKings. Moving up the card, we got Caio Borrello versus Gadzi Omagaraziev. Ooh, mouthful. So both these guys are making their UFC debuts. They were both on the Contender Series. Both had really impressive performances. I believe both of them had first-round victories. So the play I really like here is I put 1 unit on Fight Goes the Distance plus 140 on DraftKings. So this was an early Twitter play. Follow me on Twitter if you do not, because I throw early plays in there and I usually beat the line. So this one did beat the line pretty good. I believe now it's sitting at about plus 110. I got it at plus 140. I'm going to bring up a quick screenshot so you guys can see right here. So as you can see, at 6:30 a.m. today, I threw this in plus 140 on DraftKings for a unit as my proof. Yeah, so follow me on Twitter if you don't, at mustache_MMA. I throw a lot of early plays on there, and I tend to beat the line, and they tend to be very successful as well. I have a good track record with those. I don't have it off the top of my head. I believe I'm like 8 of 9, something like that so far this year, in terms of getting them correct, and a little bit slightly higher than 50% of beating the line. But anyway, Fight Goes the Distance. I like this play. Omar Gadziev, he has really good wrestling and grappling skills. And that's kind of his bread and butter. Now, his striking is decent. It's okay. It's nothing special, but he really relies on a grappling and wrestling heavy attack, which I think Kai Borrello is going to be able to defend. He has pretty good takedown defense, and he also has good grappling as well. I think he'll be able to survive on the ground with Omar Gadziev. He went to a decision with Jailton Almeida, and Jailton Almeida is an animal in terms of grappling. So that was really impressive to me, and that shows to me that this dude can go the distance with Omar Gadziev and survive. And even if he gets to the ground, because Kai Borrello, he has good takedown defense. He has an 8-inch reach advantage here, and Kai Borrello has that karate stance, kind of good movement, keeps range very well. So it may be hard for Omar Gadziev to close the distance, get the takedown, and successfully get him to the ground. Borrello could keep this one on the feet the whole time and just piece up Omar Gadziev. Omar Gadziev, on the other hand, he's tough, he's durable, he's got a chin. Never been knocked out in his pro career. He has been knocked out once in his amateur career. But I don't think Borrello has crazy power, to be honest. He's more of a technical striker, but if he does hurt you, watch out. You'll smell the blood. He'll jump in and he'll get the kill. But I like these guys. I both think they're super durable, and I think both of them have styles that contrast with each other, but they can counteract their pros, if you will, and this one will go the distance. So again, an official 1 unit play on Twitter. Fight Goes the Distance plus 140 on DraftKings. I believe there's like a plus 115 out there is the best price now on FanDuel. I would still take that. I would take this at anywhere at plus money, to be honest. And moving on to our main event, we got Vicente Luque versus Belal Muhammad 2. Second time they are meeting. First time Luque finished him in the first round. The only time Belal Muhammad has been finished in his entire career, and he's going up against him again. So this one was another Twitter play. So I threw 2 units on Luque money line at minus 160 over on DraftKings. So let me pull up that screenshot here so you guys can see that proof. I threw this one on April 11th, which I believe was Monday, at about 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 2 units on Luque money line at minus 160 on DraftKings. I believe right now it's at minus 170 on DraftKings, and then other books may have it a little higher. So beat the line as of right now a little bit. We'll see where that line ends up later in the day, but feel good that I beat that a little bit out so far. But anyway, I just really like Luque in the spot here. Reason being, Luque is well-rounded. He has really good striking. That's where he excels. He's got good power, good technical striking. It's crisp, really good chin on the feet. Really good submission skills, good grappling. He has good wrestling as well. Belal Muhammad, on the other hand, he's just decent everywhere. I don't think he has much power. His technical striking is decent. His wrestling is decent. His jiu-jitsu is decent. But he just comes in. He has great cardio. That's his thing. He has great cardio, and he comes in with the perfect game plan every time, and he just is able to get that decision win every time. But the thing about his last 2 wins that I don't like, and why I like Luque here in the spot so much, Belal Muhammad beat Damian Maia, and then he beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Damian Maia, he's a grappler. He was also 40 years old. Belal Muhammad, all he had to do was keep it on the feet, which he did, and he won a very boring decision. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, really good striker for sure, and older as well. Also older. What does Stephen Wonderboy Thompson not do? He doesn't have any grappling. He's not good off his back when he's taken down. What did Belal Muhammad do? Take him down, lay on him for 13 minutes. Boring fight. So both those fighters had glaring holes in their game. Guess who doesn't have a glaring hole in their game? Vicente Luque. He's well-rounded everywhere. Even if Belal Muhammad takes him down, Vicente Luque will be able to work his way up. He will be able to pose a threat in the grappling department. So I just really, really like Vicente Luque here. He's just better everywhere. The only area that Belal Muhammad might have that's better is the cardio. But even Luque has good cardio. He's put on a good pace for all 3 rounds in 3-round fights. This is a 5-round fight, but at the same time, I don't know if it'll go that far. It might, it may not. I still have to think about it a little more, but nevertheless, I love Vicente Luque in this spot to beat Belal Muhammad. Hence the 2-unit play on the money line. All right. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Appreciate it. If you would subscribe and like this video if you did like it. Also, leave me a comment down below if you're making any bets for this card. I'd love to hear them. You can give a little brief synopsis of why you're betting that as well. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. I got one more video coming out later today. I will probably have it posted before anybody watches the video, but it will be my parlay play video where I will be creating a couple different variations of parlays for this card, and I'll be playing for this card. Shout out to Steady Picks Radio and any of you guys listening on there. Appreciate your following. I know the Steady Picks guys have told me I've had a pretty good view count over there, so pretty stoked about that, and very appreciative of you guys listening to me rant about MMA week after week. Also, shout out to steadypicks.com. If you don't know them already, they are a free betting consultation website. All you have to do is sign up with an email, and you get access to the Steady Picks system. You get access to Steady Picks contributors, bet picks from Tom, Donnie, and Ricky. They also have picks from UFC ranked welterweight Sean Brady, undefeated as well. He knows his shit big time. So definitely sign up for steadypicks.com. It's totally free, and check out their stuff. They got really great content there. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for watching, and I will see you soon. Peace out.